You have the link?
Okay. व्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम व्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम मोर मुकुट मकराकृत कुंडल गले वैजंती माला चरणन नुपुर रसाल राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम सुंदर वदन कमल दल लोचन बाकी चितवन हारी मोहन वंशी विहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम वृंदावन में धेनु चरावे गोपी जन मनहारी श्री गोवर्धन धारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधा कृष्ण मिले अब दाऊ और रूप अवतारी कीर्तन धर्म प्रचारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम तुम बिन मेरे और न कोई नाम रूपे अवतारी चरणन में बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम नारायण बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम व्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम. Translation. Krishna gives happiness in the hearts of all Vrajvasis. Radhe Shyam Shyam Shyam. He wears a peacock feather mukut, swinging makara-shaped earrings and a Vajanti garland around his neck, and the sound of his ankle bells is full of rasa. Radhe Shyam Shyam Shyam. His lotus face is very beautiful, and his eyes are like lotus petals. Wandering here and there, he charms everyone with his flute and threefold curved form. Radhe Shyam Shyam Shyam. In Vrindavan, he tends the cows in the pastures, steals the gopis' minds, and holds up Sri Govardhan hill. Radhe Shyam Shyam Shyam. Shri Radhe Krishna have united, and now the two have come as a beautiful golden avatar, preaching Kirtan Dharma. Radhe Shyam Shyam Shyam. I have no one but you in this world. You descend as the avatar of the beautiful name and the beautiful form. Your lotus feet fill me with wonder. So this Narayan is filled with delight. Radhe Shyam Shyam Shyam. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, this devotee who said Narayan Maharaj. Yeah, so I mean, this devotee is saying that I have no one but you in this world. There is no one but Krishna, who is our eternal friend, who comes along with us in every life, in every species that we go to. Krishna never leaves us. He's our eternal friend. And so he has come in the form of his name, the beautiful name and beautiful form. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna has combined as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful. He has given us the easy form of Krishna that comes with us wherever we go. I mean, we can't do deity worship all the time, or even scriptures. We don't have Bhagavatam all the time, but name can be chanted all the time. It's the most portable form of Lord. And yeah, so he's remembering the Vraj Dham. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, right? The best form of Krishna is in the Vraj. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanya Tadham Vrindavan. Dravya Kachit Upasna Vrajavadu Vargena Kalpita. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Premapumatham Shri Chaitanya Matam Idam Tattravana Right. So the best form of worship is Krishna in Vrindavan, and the topmost devotees are the gopis.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else like to say anything? Okay. So Krishna is inviting us to the land of Vrindavan. Of course, here also there is Vrindavan, and there Golok Vrindavan also, where there is no anxiety, there is full of joy and happiness. There is no struggle, there is no death, there is no old age, no disease. Every song is a word, every word is a song, and every step is a dance. So,
Every tree is a desired tree. Every cow is Surabhi cow. Every day is a festival.
so Krishna is inviting us to that world. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, right? You are on the other side of the Viraja river, and we are suffering on this side of the Viraja river. So it's all very nice there. We are suffering on this side, and we are eating all kinds of abominable things. He says like that. So we have to just cross the boundary, just cross the boundary of the Viraja river and go to that side, and then it's Vaikuntha. There is no anxiety. Okay. And the topmost planet is Golok Vrindavan. Okay, so Krishna is inviting us there. And we can go there easily by chanting the holy name. Kaler doshe nite rajan asti eko mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. Okay, so chanting the holy name, of course, there is a quality to the chanting of the holy names. So, and offenses and so yesterday we were hearing how Nityananda Prabhu, by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, will be able to perceive Rajdham, or Nityananda Prabhu bestows his mercy even on the sinful people. So we have some hope. We have hope in the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And if you get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who is Radha and Krishna. And you get Vraj Prem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give Vraj Prem. So, and is distributing that through Nityananda Prabhu. That also we say like that. So Nityananda Prabhu is more merciful than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's the distributor to the most fallen souls. Okay, so in the Nitai Pada Kamala song, let's see. It is said, right, what that Vrajapure, one goes to Vraj. What is the line here? Trying to sing that song. There is this. Nitaya Karuna Hobe Braje Radha Krishna Pabe. Daro Nitai Charana Dukkhani. So when you get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, then you get Radha and Krishna in Braj. So Dharo Nitai Charan. Yesterday we heard the class. So in Kali Yuga, we are all very fallen, and Nityananda Prabhu is very merciful. So we can take shelter of him and we'll get. When he is merciful towards you, then you will be able to approach Radha Krishna. Therefore, you should. That means Nityananda Prabhu represents the Guru Tattva also. So, therefore, you should firmly grasp the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Okay, since we are hearing a lot of about Nityananda Prabhu, so it's on my mind. Prema Matte Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttama Adhama Uttama Kichu Na Kare Vichar. So, that's also there about Lord Nityananda. Okay. And by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Narottam Das Thakur says, I will become free from the desire for sense gratification because he will give the strength. And then I'll be able to properly perceive Vrindavan Dham. So, in the song Gauranga Bolite Habe, Hara ka benitai chande karuna hoibe sansara vasana mora kabe tuchhabe. So all the sansar vasana, when will Nitai Chand, the bestow his mercy upon me? And by his mercy, the sansar vasana means all the desires for material desires, will become very insignificant. Mora kabe tuchha hobe. Vishaya chadiya kabe shuddha hobe mana. And then, when I'll give up sense gratification, then my mind will become pure. Kabe ham hera bo Shri Vrindavana. Herabo means then I'll be able to see Vrindavan Dham. So, okay. And Nityananda Prabhu never becomes angry. There is also that song, Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bedai. So he never becomes angry. Even he was beaten, then he gave prem. So this is who is more merciful than Lord Nityananda. Okay, so yesterday also we were hearing that Nityananda Prabhu, he is Satchidananda Vigraha. So how can there be any, blood and anything like that? His body is Satchidananda Vigraha. But when he was hit by Madhai, then blood started flowing out. And because they are all Satchidananda Vigraha, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he disappeared in the Tota Gopinath deities. There was no sign of any body left behind. Because they are Satchidananda Vigraha. Nityananda Prabhu, how did he, what is his, I don't know, where did he, there's some deities somewhere. Somebody knows where Nityananda Prabhu disappeared. So, anyhow, Bankim Rai also.
Yes.
So how can there be blood? But he feigned blood because people will think, oh, he has been hurt, and they will call who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Madhai would never go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu wanted to call Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there to the scene. So he enacted this pastime, you could say. Of course, he himself can give mercy because he is non-different. But he wanted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glory to be spread. So, and without him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have given mercy. So, okay. Read Bhagavatam now. Anything else anyone would like to say? We have a guest user. Where is the guest user joining from? Hare Krishna. You would like to tell something about yourself? If the guest user is hearing our conversation. Okay. Okay, so now we will read Srimad Bhagavatam. So Diti has approached Kashyap Muni and she wants to have a child because what is the reason she wants to have a child? Because
all her
Hmm.
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying because all her sisters have child
Hmm.
and she also wanted a child.
And Kashyap Muni had how many wives?
12. I mean 13th, and she is 13th one. Like all her 12 sisters have kids, right?
They were married to Kashyap Muni, correct. So, although the time was not right, not proper, the consciousness was not proper, but she approached Kashyap Muni. And Kashyap Muni also was not very strong. So he, instead of refusing strongly, because internally we read he also had a desire. So, so that's why he could not refuse very strongly. Prabhupada said. Okay, so now let's see. Yeah, so these verses are talking about the Grihastha ashram. How in Grihastha ashram one is protected. Is this the verse? Let's see. Means the thing is that the desire is to become like an animal, but at least in Grihastha ashram you are confined or you are to at least one person like that. But of course, in there also, as we were discussing yesterday, if the senses are not controlled, then it becomes a Griham-edi life. So, who makes a good Grihastha? One who has had
Brahmachari training.
good brahmachari training makes a good Grihastha. Okay, so as a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses which are unconquerable in other spiritual orders. So it is meant to regulate lust. We know lust is the main factor in this material world, which covers our knowledge, and the goal of life is to become free from lust and transform this lust into love of Krishna. So, Atmendra Priti Vancha Tara Bali Kam. Krishnendra Priti Ichha Dhara Prem Nam. So, the desire to gratify one's own senses is called lust, and that is why we have come here in this material world. Desire to gratify our senses, senses, the gross senses, and the subtle senses, the mind also, where we want name, fame, honor, prestige, adoration, all these things. We want to become an important figure. So there is all these lusty desires in our heart. And that is called kam, desire to gratify one's own senses. And desire to satisfy Krishna's senses is called prem. So lust can be used in Krishna's service, provided it is only for the purpose of procreation, for the purpose of begetting a child. And then you have to make the child Krishna conscious. then that's okay. Otherwise, it is binding, even in married life. Of the four spiritual orders of human society, the student brahmachari, the householder grihastha, the retired vanaprastha order, and the renounced sannyasi order, the householder is on the safe side. The bodily senses are considered plunderers of the fort of the body. The wife is said to be the commander of the fort, and therefore, whenever there is an attack on the body by the senses, it is the wife who protects the man from being smashed. The sex demand is inevitable for everyone, and for every conditioned soul. This is the binding force in this material existence. Uh, it is in for the conditioned soul, not for the. As you become pure, then you become free. But one who has a fixed wife is saved from the onslaught of sense enemies. A man who possesses a good wife does not create a disturbance in society by corrupting virgin girls. Without a fixed wife, a man becomes a debauchee of the first order and is a nuisance in the society. Unless he is trained brahmachari, vanaprastha, or sannyasi. Unless there is rigid and systematic training of brahmachari by the expert spiritual master, and unless the student is obedient, it is sure that the so-called brahmachari will fall prey to the attack of sex. And great munis have fallen. There are so many instances of fall down, even for great yogis like Vishwamitra. The grihastha is saved, however, because of his faithful wife. Sex life is the cause of material bondage, and therefore it is prohibited in the three ashrams. So 75% of one's life, there is no indulgence in lust. That's if you have 100 years of life, then 75% is a brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyas. And in grihastha ashram only for the purpose of procreation. So like that we say, brahmachari means one should
Control lust.
grihastha means one should
Regulate lust. And vanaprastha is detached from lust, and sannyas is forget lust.
forget lust. So the common theme in this whole thing is lust. So the grihastha is responsible for producing first quality brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. And these desires remain till the very end of life. So unless we take shelter of Krishna and Madan Mohan, especially the Madan Mohan, Jayatam Surator Pango Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano. I am lame and ill-informed, ill-advised. Jayatam, all victory or all glory to the Surato Pangu. Surato means the couple who is attached in conjugal love, that is Radha Krishna. Jayatam Surator Pangur. Pangu means I am lame. Mama Manda Matir Gati. Manda Mati means I am very less intelligent. But they are my Gati. They are my goal. Manda Matir Gati. Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojo. They are everything for me. Padam Bhojo means the lotus feet. Their lotus feet are everything to me. Radha Madan Mohan. Sarvasva Padam Bhojo. Radha Madana Mohano. That's the Diti of Sanatana Goswami. Radha Madan Mohan was called before. What was he called before?
Gopal.
Madan Gopal.
Advaita Acharyas.
Advaita Acharya found that deity and at Advaita Vat in Vrindavan, and then he was given to Purushottam Chaube in Mathura, and then he came in the dream of Purushottam Chaube, and then the deity was given to Sanatana Goswami. Like that. So Madan Mohan, we have to pray to Krishna. Krishna, please take my attraction away from this, and give me attraction to your lotus feet, Radha Krishna, Radha Madan Mohan, please. So he is the one who takes away our attention from this by attracting us. So we have to become attracted by Krishna. Okay. But because it is not so easy to give it up all at once, so that's why there is some concession allowed in the Grihastha ashram under rules and regulations. So we have to pray to Haridas Thakur also. Haridas Thakur. They are all living. I mean, every devotee is living. Bhishmadev, Haridas Thakur. Bhishmadev was also a staunch, brahmachari. That's how he got the name Bhishma. Oh, terrible, terrible. It's a terrible vow, terrible vow. Why? Because in royal household, he had living in the royal household where there are so many beautiful people, and he had taken the vow of celibacy, where the environment is not conducive for celibacy. He had taken the vow of celibacy. So it's called Bhishma, Bhishma. So, but Bhishma says Krishna is a better brahmachari than me. Because Bhishma said that, I don't know what I would have done if I was in the midst of all these beautiful young gopis. But with Krishna, Krishna was surrounded by these beautiful young damsels of Raj, but he never became bewildered in a materialistic way like that. So Bhishma is saying that Krishna is a better brahmachari than me. Prabhupada was saying in a lecture. So this is okay. So also in the Gajendra Moksha section, Prabhupada says we should situate ourselves in an ashram which is suitable for protecting ourselves from the onslaught of Maya. So he says for most people, Grihastha ashram is there. But then, as we were discussing yesterday, it is also a time-bound ashram, ultimately. Because ultimately our path is the path of renunciation, the vritti marg. So ultimately you have to become renounced from that ashram also. So it is not in the varnashram, it is described. That's why it's then you have vanaprastha and sannyas ashram. So Prabhupada says, at the age of 50, one should take the warning of death very seriously, because now time is very short. Yesterday when we were hearing the class, it was described that how Prabhupada told His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj that give one life to Krishna. You have given so many lives to Maya. Give one life to Krishna. Then we have to think also, right? Only few years are left in my life now. At least this many years I should give. I have not given even one life to Krishna, because so many years I have done nonsense and I have not worshipped Krishna in this life. At least give the remaining years of my life, our life. If you are 40, 50, whatever we are, it's only a few more decades. Just give this. When it is not even one life, it is just a few, whatever remaining years are there. Because so many years have passed, and we may not have, surrendered to Krishna to the extent we wanted. At least give the remaining years. If not now, when will you do it? Because we have to surrender to Krishna at some point, right? I mean, to get out of this material world, it's not possible without giving oneself Atma Nivedanam, giving oneself completely to Krishna, surrendering. Krishna says, surrender to me. Of course, we say chant Hare Krishna will also bring you to the point of surrender. So like that, they are saying give one life to Krishna, and of which half or more than half life may already been over. So what is remaining? It is only just a few more years. Give this life. What are you going to achieve in this material world? So another thing is we have to tell the mind also. The mind says, no, that is important, that is important. Then we can tell the mind, what are you going to achieve in this material world? Of course, we have to do our duty, whatever it is there, but what are you going to really achieve in this material world? Don't you see? So many people have died without taking anything. What, you are crazy? Like that we have to tell, give some siksha, mana siksha to the mind. Yeah, are you crazy? Mind, you are crazy. So sometimes we have to disown the mind. Like Prabhupada, I was thinking today morning. Prabhupada says, when you chant Hare Krishna, you chant with your tongue and you hear with your ears. Where is the question of mind, he said. That means you don't give any importance to the mind. The mind is like saying so many things and chatterbox. You just chant and hear, ignore the mind, basically. So many desires are coming from the mind. So we don't have to act on all the desires. Say, okay, this is not me. The mind is not me. Like that. So then you can kind of see yourself as separate from the mind and let the desires pass. So this is my past, this is not me. This desire is not me, and you let it pass. Or you shut up the mind. Say, stop it, mind. So in this way, we can control the mind. Okay, so that all these things also, Krishna, the, the strength to control the mind also comes from Nityananda Prabhu, because he's the one who gives spiritual strength. So we can pray to Lord Nityananda. Some prayers we can do to Lord Nityananda on his appearance day. O Lord Nityananda, please give me spiritual strength to overcome my anarthas which are so powerful. O Lord Nityananda, I beg at your lotus feet. Please accept me. I'm a sinner. I'm struggled so much hard in this material world. Please accept me. Oh Lord Nityananda, please accept me. Like that. Some prayers to the deities, God Nitai deities. Okay, so next verse. We know all this, there's nothing new I'm saying. You all know everything. Na vayam prabhavastam tvam anukartum griheshwari apya ayushava karsnena ye chanye guna gridnavaha gridnavaha. O Queen of the home, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done, even if we worked our entire life or even after death. To repay you is not possible, even for those who are admirers of personal qualities. So much. So, Kashyap Muni is glorifying Aditi. So much glorification of a woman by her husband indicates that he is henpecked or is talking lightly in joke. Kashyap meant that householders living with wives enjoy the heavenly blessings of sense enjoyment and at the same time have no fear of going down to hell, provided they are grihasthas. The man in the renounced order of life has no wife and may be driven by sex desire to seek another woman or another's wife, then thus go to hell. In other words, the so-called man of the renounced order who has left his house and wife goes to hell if he again desires sexual pleasure, knowingly or unknowingly. In that way, the householders are on the side of safety. Therefore, husbands as a class cannot repay their debt to women, either in this life or in the next. Even if they engage themselves in repaying the women throughout their lives, it is still not possible. So now they've done so much service, so the husband feels indebted. Not all husbands are able to appreciate the good qualities of their wives, but even though one is able to appreciate these qualities, it is still not possible to repay the debt to the wife. Such extraordinary praises by a husband for his wife are certainly in the mode of joking. Okay. So Krishna is also a henpecked husband. Satyabhama said, bring me that parijat tree. And Krishna obliged. So he is henpecked. Krishna, when he also performs the role of a husband, he does it perfectly. Whatever Satyabhama, whatever they want, Krishna is ready. Okay, so the next verse. Any comments?
And Krishna is able to replicate himself for each of the wives. But when we were discussing yesterday, when Satyabhama, or before, Satyabhama is envious of Rukmini, that she's the most favorite queen of Krishna. I didn't understand. At that point, I was having a thought like Krishna replicated himself, right, to each of his queens, and he was giving all of them personal attention.
Yeah, then why would she feel envious, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Krishna, because Krishna gave that, yeah, but he was giving attention to Satyabhama also. But he gave that flower only to Rukmini. And Narad Muni went and told, right, Satyabhama, that he has given the. Did he? Narad Muni say that? Or Satyabhama's maid servants were there and they told Satyabhama. So maybe some special attention was given by Krishna to Rukmini. That's why she felt like that. But she had Krishna with her also, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good point. How do we explain that? Not sure. Like yesterday, I was thinking that Jagai and Madai, they say they didn't do any Vaishnava aparadh, right? But
Mhm.
because they never associated with Vaishnavas. Why? Because the Vaishnavas would not come near Jagai Madai. But then other people also were not wanting to come near Jagai Madai, right? So nobody wanted to. They were all afraid of Jagai Madai. They were not. So why would Jagai Madai only go to the homes of? Because they, in their mind, they did not discriminate between Vaishnavas and ordinary beings. Because for them,
Mhm.
everybody was like. So how do you explain that? But then I was thinking maybe Krishna was giving them protection, the Vaishnavas. So that's why Jagai and Madai were not going to their home or not coming near. So, yeah, because yeah.
But they offended Lord Nityananda, right? So wasn't that an offense?
That was they were forgiven. But before that, before they
Mhm.
it Lord
And they
Nityananda.
also say that there were not many Vaishnavas at that time, maybe few.
Okay, so that may be that they were not Vaishnavas. But then we say that in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, later on they became Vaishnavas because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He like Suniti, not Suruchi,
Mhm. Yeah,
for the reaction if they later became. So many people became Vaishnavas later on in Navadvip, right?
yeah. That's why Madhai goes to
Serve them.
Nityananda Prabhu, right? Yeah.
Correct.
On the ghat, he's serving all those whom he may have offended.
But then Suruchi was also like that. She was favorable to the Dhruva after that, right? She was not like inimical towards Dhruva like
Mhm.
how she was before.
Yeah.
So why would she burn?
Yeah, but Radhesham Prabhu said that it was in her destiny. So Krishna had already told Dhruva that this is what is going to happen.
Hmm.
And his words, of course, we can't change. Lord said himself, she will die in the fire and her son will die being killed by yakshas.
Anyway, she must have got liberated or whatever it is. I don't know. So yeah, so Vishnu is saying, but that time you were saying Dhruva didn't say anything, right?
Yeah, I could have said, no, 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 please forgive them. He didn't say that.
Yeah, so there's so many things like if you think too deep, it's like so I yeah, this like this one you were saying that why would Satyabhama feel envious because she had Krishna? It's a good question. Okay, next verse. Even though it is not possible to repay you, I shall satisfy your sex desire immediately for the sake of begetting children. But you must wait only for a few seconds so that others may not reproach me. Okay, so it says few seconds. The henpecked husband may not be able to repay his wife for all the benefits that he derives from her, but as for begetting children by fulfilling sexual desire, it is not at all difficult for any husband, unless he is thoroughly impotent. This is a very easy task for a husband under normal conditions. In spite of Kashyapa's being very eager, he requested her to wait for a few seconds so that others might not reproach him. He explains his position. Why did he ask to wait for a few seconds? We'll see. This particular time is most inauspicious because at this time the horrible looking ghosts and constant companions of the Lord of the Ghosts are visible. So it was this the twilight time or something. Anyway, Kashyap had already told his wife Diti to wait for a while. And now he warns her that failure to consider the particular time will result in punishment from the ghosts and evil spirits who move during this time, along with their master, Lord Rudra. So, Lord Rudra is Shiva. He goes with all the ghosts. So, he said, this is not a good time. Okay, so, and the consciousness was not right. Basically, main thing was the consciousness was not right. Because Prabhupada says in the 8th chapter, was it 8th chapter? 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that for the yogis, they have to wait for the auspicious time to depart from this world. For devotee, there is nothing like this time is auspicious, but because their consciousness is always right, because their consciousness is always Krishna consciousness, they don't have to wait till the sun goes in the northern hemisphere and all these things, and because they are always absorbed in Krishna. So whichever time they live, whether they live in an accident or wherever, it doesn't matter. It's all auspicious for a devotee. So, but anyhow, they were not in the proper consciousness, and we know that the consciousness at the time of conception attracts a particular soul to do. Yeah.
One question. So then why Bhishma have waited for the Uttarayan? He was a great devotee. Just curious to know.
Yeah, because he wanted to see Pandavas crowned as he wanted to see the devotees in the position of, and until the Kurukshetra war ended. And of course, this was also because Krishna wanted Yudhishthir to hear from Bhishma Dev. So after the war ended, Yudhishthir was feeling very despondent that because of me, all these people were killed, and Krishna tried to convince him. So all that had to happen to glorify Bhishma Dev. So after the war also, Yudhishthir is surveying the battlefield. And then he goes, and then he wanted to see Krishna. Uttarayan also means you, right? You want to say Uttarayan?
Yeah, Uttarayan, one who Uttara took shelter of, or who also took shelter of Uttara's womb, both ways. So basically, Bhishma was waiting for Krishna.
Uttara is the mother of Parikshit, and Ayana means to take shelter. So he was waiting for Uttarayan, which is also, he was waiting for one who gave shelter to Uttara, or who Uttara took shelter of. Yeah.
One devotee was also saying that why Krishna and Yudhishthira Maharaj waited for so long to come and get instructions from Bhishma, because Bhishma had eaten food of the Kauravas until every drop of the blood from his body was removed. He would have been in a contaminated state to speak pure philosophy to Yudhishthira.
मैंने
So
आपका नमक,
Acharya has commented.
yes, मैंने आपका नमक खाया है. So actually that was the whole reason why they fought with Duryodhan, because they thought, yeah, हमने नमक खाया है आपका. So anyhow, yeah, so all the blood has to be drip out. And of
But
course,
in case of Dronacharya, it was because Dronacharya also said like that he, because of his कहते हैं, नमक खाया है, तो he, because of this depth, he did that. But this was not this any. I mean, I haven't heard anything like in case of Dronacharya.
Dronacharya.
Yeah. So, what is your question? I mean, Dronacharya was fighting from the side of the Kauravas because he was obliged. He was
Right.
being supplied by everything from the Kauravas.
Yes, that's my question, because as you said that in case of Bhishma, that every blood will gonna drip out, and until that he waited to departure.
He
So
waited to speak to Yudhishthira because he cannot speak
okay.
through pure philosophy until there is the annadosh. There is annadosh where we have eaten food of those who are sinful.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So yeah, it seems like Bhishma was waiting. Yeah, the verses say like that he was waiting for the sun to travel to north. But for devotee, it's all auspicious. He's a Mahajan also. He's a pure devotee. So, but yeah. So many reasons can be there. Okay. But sometimes devotees do some murat and some things like that. They see Griha Pravesh, they see the murat. But Sometimes it's because they say, well, if you're not a pure devotee, then you have to do like that. Some devotees say like that. Yeah, we do this so many. We see the vastu in the house because if you're not, then vastu may affect. I don't know to what degree one should follow these things. I'm not sure in devotional service. Like astrology is another thing, and vastu and murats and all these things. Sometimes they say, "Oh, this time of the year you cannot do any good activities. You should not start any new business or anything like that. You should not travel on this day because this is not favorable." I think Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to do observe something like that. He would not travel on Ekadashi or something like that. But I don't know how to what extent. Of course, because not traveling on Ekadashi may also mean that uh,
Saving time to
saving
chant.
time. Yeah, correct, to chant Hare Krishna. So that is also there.
Yeah, I have heard that he completely left astrology. He was so scholar in that. He left it. Said not needed for devotees.
Yeah. But devotees sometimes, they manage horoscope for marriage or things like that. I don't know if it's necessary because if they're both devotees, maybe it is necessary because they're not pure devotees. Both of them are not pure devotees. So I don't know to what extent all these things should be followed or not. I'm not.
Yeah, but my thing is like how astrology can change your karma. That can only be changed by bhakti.
Yeah.
If things have to happen, how can astrology change it?
Correct. That's also there. But then some devotees were saying, yeah, you can know what's going to come, so you may take precaution. You cannot change. But
Right.
if it's going to rain, then you take an umbrella, like that, something like that.
Right. So, but for a devotee who's kind of trying to be above the modes, is not impacted by lust, anger, greed, then always fixed in, then he's not impacted, right? But those who are impacted, they have to be careful.
Like the Shraddha also. Sometimes devotees say, yeah, you have to do Shraddha. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did Shraddha for his father. And then some says, no, the chanting Hare Krishna is the Shraddha because that will, you have to surrender into Krishna. Of course, we can feed the devotees on because Vishnu eats through the mouth of the devotees. But that becomes a devotional act to feed the devotees. Like that's not like anything else. Of course, Shraddha is also to offer prasad to the forefathers, and then this way they can get liberated. But how many of us can do all these things in this age? It's difficult. And in America, you are here. So, okay. Lord Shiva, the king of ghosts, sitting on the back of his bull carrier, travels at this time, accompanied by ghosts who follow him for their welfare. So he's saying at this time, Lord Shiva is accompanied by his ghosts and he travels. Lord Shiva or Rudra is the king of the ghosts. Ghostly characters worship Lord Shiva to be gradually guided towards a path of self-realization. So Lord Shiva is so compassionate that he gives his association even to the ghosts, Bhuta, Pretas, so that they can also be elevated. Mayavadi philosophers are mostly worshippers of Lord Shiva, and Sripad Shankaracharya is considered to be the incarnation of Lord Shiva for preaching godlessness. Preaching godlessness to the Mayavadi philosophers. Mayavada Shat Shastram. It is said that in Kali Yuga, Mayavad Prapannam Bauddham Uchyate, Prachannam Bauddha Uchyate. Brahmana Kalo Murtina. Mayavadam Shastram. Sangam Bodham, covered Buddhism is preaching. And ghosts are bereft of a physical body because of their grievously sinful acts such as suicide. Thank you. Mayavadam asat shastram prachannam bodham uchyate. Channam means covered. Prachannam means specifically covered Buddhism. Mayeva vihitam devi kalau brahmanam. Lord Shiva is telling Parvati. Kalau brahmana murtina. I will become a brahmana in this age of Kali. Mayeva, I will. Mayeva means I. Vihitam, Devi or Parvati. So, ghosts are bereft of a physical body because of their grievously sinful acts such as suicide. It's a very painful thing to do suicide, right? Because you are so much troubled by your life that you can't bear the pain any longer. And so you decide to end your life. But that does not end your suffering. One may feel like that my suffering is going to end if I'm not. But here Prabhupada says that it's a sinful act. So many people are in that situation. So we have to approach. This Krishna consciousness, so many people are depressed. So many people are in anxiety. It's the nature of this world. So we have to give them Krishna, the love of Krishna, the association, devotees. So like that, then they will feel very satisfied and happy in doing devotional service. So the last resort of ghostly characters in human society is to take shelter of suicide. Either material or spiritual. Material suicide causes loss of the physical body, and spiritual suicide causes loss of individual identity. Mayavadi philosophers desire to lose their individuality. So it is considered as spiritual suicide because they want to merge. They want to annihilate their existence and merge into the impersonal spiritual Brahmajyoti existence. But that is not possible because Krishna says, Natvevaham jato nasam, natvam neme janadipa, nachaiva bhavishyama, sarveva yathaparam. So nobody can annihilate. We are always individuals and will always remain individuals. We can become one in what?
One in quality.
Quality and interest. Yeah, one in quality, one in interest. Lord Shiva being very kind to the ghosts, see that they get physical bodies despite being condemned. So the ghosts get physical, he places them into the wombs of women who indulge in sexual intercourse regardless of the restrictions of time and circumstance. So those ghosts who have done suicide, those who have done suicide get the body of ghosts, and Lord Shiva puts them into the womb of impious women. Kashyap wanted to impress this fact upon Diti so that she might wait for a while. So he's saying this is the time when Lord Shiva is putting all the ghosts into the. So you wait for some time. Okay. Anyway, so that's. Because Lord Shiva gives them a gross body. Of course, in this age, we say that both are in the same person, the demons and the ghost means like demoniac tendencies, or right? They're in the same person.
Yeah. But there are ghosts, right? Separate. That are waiting to get a material body.
Correct. That also.
And Prabhupada also delivered many ghosts by chanting to them Hare Krishna.
Yeah. That's a good
Even
thing.
in the Jagannath Dasuru movie that we saw, there was a ghost. And because he was teaching his students from scriptures, he told the ghost to, don't make any disturbance, just sit and hear, and it's for your benefit. Because he was occupying that place and disturbing everyone. So Ghost realized that what he's saying is true, and he surrendered. And so they can hear chanting and mantras and scriptures.
Yeah, they have subtle senses. They don't have gross senses, but they have subtle senses. They can hear. Even that other, what the Bhagavatam was it, Dundubi or what was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that. And also there is ghost of Maya. We are all affected by the
Pishachi.
Pishachi, the witch. So by
Even in
hearing,
Hanuman,
huh?
go ahead. I was reminded in a Hanuman Chalisa, it also says that, like, Bhut Pishach Nikat Nahi Aave, Mahavir Jab Naam Sunao. So they can hear like that.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there is a Hanuman temple somewhere where people who are possessed by ghosts, they come there and actually relieves them.
Yeah, it is in India, Mehendipur, Balaji. I heard that there are so many people went there too. Those who are having some problem like that.
Narottam Das Thakur also, he took out ghost, right? Somebody, somewhere.
Right.
Chandra also. Yeah. So this is the mantra that delivers us from the ghost, which in the Chief Jago it says this is the medicine. Yeah. So we have to keep ourselves in good company and in good vibration. So the Bhagavatam and like that all the time. Then the ghost will not enter us. Khaite suite yatha
Yata tatha nome kaladeshnim nahi sarvasiddhi.
kal deshni nahi sarvasya. And if you want to chant nicely, then you have to be in Trinadapi Sunichara consciousness. Then you can do Kirtaniya Sadahari. So this is the essence of the all. Sometimes we say how we should be in what kind of consciousness we should be. Oh, we should be in Trinadapi Sunichara consciousness. Difficult, I'm just saying that, but that's how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says. Wear this verse around our neck with the string of the holy name. So, yeah. Because in that consciousness, you can get taste in chanting the holy name. And once you get taste in chanting the holy name, then you can chant always. So, yeah. So, because you're not seeking anything in this world. You're offering respects to everyone. You're not seeking anything from anybody, but you're giving respects to everybody. Because they're all parts and parcels of Krishna. So you're giving respect to everyone. And your mind is peaceful when you're in. When you're not craving for any material things in this world, then your mind is peaceful. Then you can focus also better. Okay. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakala Ashanta. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Deva Shanta. So Lord Shiva's body is reddish and is sustained through is unstained, though covered with ashes. Is Mahajan. His hair is dusty from the whirlwind dust of crematorium. So maybe the ashes of the crematorium. He is the younger brother of your husband. So Kashyapa and Shiva, they are all sons of Brahma. He's saying, oh, he's your younger brother of your husband, and he sees with his 3 eyes. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living entity, nor is he in the category of Vishnu or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, that's why we say Sadashiv. But Sadashiv is Vishnu Tattva. He's not. But here Prabhupada says he's neither in the category of Vishnu or the Supreme Person. So there is a Shiva in the material world. Or in between the material world and the spiritual world. His abode is in between. He is far more powerful than any living entity, up to the standard of Brahma. Yet he is not on an equal level with Vishnu. Since he is almost like Lord Vishnu, Shiva can see past, present, and future. One of his eyes is like the sun, another is like the moon, and his third eye, which is between his eyebrows, is like fire. He can generate fire from his middle eye and is able to vanquish any powerful living entity, including Brahma. Yet he does not live pompously in nice house, etc. Nor does he possess any material properties, although he is the master of the material world. So he has so much power, but he lives like a beggar. That's what it is. He has so much power. He lives mostly in the crematorium where dead bodies are burned, and the whirlwind dust of the crematorium is his bodily dress. He is unstained by material contamination. The question was asked, right? Why devotees of Lord Shiva are very rich and the devotees of Krishna? Lord Shiva is poor, or he lives in poor conditions, but devotees are very rich. And Krishna is very rich, but his devotees are sometimes poor. So what is the answer?
Yeah, that verse was spoken in this Krishna is especially merciful to someone and he'll deprive them of their wealth. And his relatives and friends will leave him. Because whatever is good for the devotee, now sometimes Krishna gives material things if the devotee is able to handle them. Like Dhruva Maharaj, he gave the entire empire in the Dhruva Lok. So Krishna would, so Shiva would indiscriminately would give people, wealth, but when they get that, then it might lead to their destruction, like he did to Vrikasur, right? He fulfilled his benediction, and that led him to his death. So Shiva can give you anything that you ask for, but not necessarily that will give you happiness. It might lead to more suffering. But Krishna would evaluate what is good for you, and he will give you that.
Yeah, there are verses like that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This person is asking for
Poison.
He has approached me, but he's asking for poison. So why should I give him poison? Instead, I'll induce him to taste the nectar of my lotus feet. Like that, there is. Ultimately, everybody wants happiness. Through sense gratification, also we want happiness. So.
But that's an illusion that will give you happiness, like the mirage in the desert.
How do you realize that sense gratification gives?
Because those who have that, they're not happy. And scripture is also saying that it's like pouring ghee on fire. It makes the fire burn more. You're never satisfied. And whatever you give to this body, ultimately the body is to be destroyed, right? It doesn't help. The body will leave you at one time. So, like, the senses are the bad masters, right? They are, the soul is trying to serve all these senses, but they're not giving him any satisfaction. They're not giving him any salary back. And he's continuing to work very hard to satisfy them. They will never be satisfied.
But many people think like that if they have a lot of money, nice house and nice car, and a lot of money in the bank, they feel very happy. So.
But anything can happen at any moment, even if they have millions and billions of dollars in the bank. Like, the doctor can't save them, medicines, and parents can't save a child. So many people. And then the depression can hit them because there's greed, which is never satisfied. They always want something that they don't have. So if their senses are not controlled, right, they might have all the things of this world. They might have the three worlds, like that Vaman Dev says, right? If the senses are not satisfied, then what does it say?
Yeah, it cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. Like even the entirety of whatever is there in this material existence.
Three words, yeah. So I think it's like satisfaction, and that can happen only when you serve Krishna unconditionally without asking for anything in return. That is the best state of happiness. That's real happiness. And serving devotees, serving Krishna.
But many people think, yeah, this is satisfaction, right? But they are not satisfied, right? But they seem to be satisfied, but they are not satisfied, right? So,
Yeah, and then we can say that okay, there might be some enjoyment in these things, but that very enjoyment is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoy, because it will not lead you to have attachment to Krishna. So you would have to return to this material world again and again because of your attachments and your desires. Then ultimately, whatever you are attached to will be taken away from you at one point, and then you will feel the suffering, right? So if you're trying to enjoy with your body, at one time you will become diseased or old, and then you will not be able to enjoy like you were. Or if you're attached to some person, that relationship will end one day, so then you will feel the suffering. So if you are feeling enjoyment, then you should know that suffering is also coming for sure because of your attachment to enjoying of that particular thing.
yeah, because it's all temporary. So either the thing will leave us, person will leave us, or I will leave. So, yeah. And then these desires will bring us back also in the material existence.
Yeah, and if you're trying to follow the path of bhakti, you can't keep your legs in both the boats. Sense gratification and advancement in spiritual realization go ill together. So you are choosing one, whether I want Krishna or I want this thing for my enjoyment. You can't have both.
Sometimes we want to have good situation, material situation, and also Krishna consciousness and like that. So,
Yeah, I mean, whatever is good for you, Krishna will give it, right? So there was one game we were playing with Sri Radha and Alanka Prabhu at Lalita Mataji's house. So there was a question: what is one thing that you want to change in this world? And it was Mayuri's husband. Uh, he had that question. He thought for a while. He said, "Please come back to me. I'm trying to think what it is." And then finally he said, actually, I don't want to change anything because whatever Krishna does is perfect. So why should I want to change anything in this material world? He's perfect and he has created a perfect material world. And everybody was like, "Oh, the best answer ever." So in our life too, whatever Krishna is doing is perfect. What he has given us and what he has not given us.
something that we have to change is our consciousness. Right? So, one thing that I would like to change, everybody will have their answer, is my consciousness, so that I can become attached to Krishna and devoted to Krishna.
Correct. Yeah. Nothing external, but it's all internal. Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's finish this. Kashyap took him as his younger brother because he lives mostly in crematorium where dead bodies are burned, and the whirlwind dust of the crematorium is his bodily dress. He is unstained by material contamination. Kashyapa took him as younger brother because the youngest sister of Diti was married to Lord Shiva. Youngest sister of Diti I thought,
Sati, I think.
okay, yeah. So not all the sisters were married to Kashyap Muni. I thought Diti and all her sisters were married to Kashyap Muni, but it says here.
Yeah, because they're all daughters of Daksha, right? So Daksha and then Sati also got married to Shiva.
The husband of one sister is considered one's brother-in-law. By that social relationship, Lord Shiva happened to be the younger brother of Kashyap. Kashyap warned his wife that because Lord Shiva would see their sex indulgence, this time was not appropriate. Diti might argue that they would enjoy a sex life in a private place, but Kashyap reminded her that Lord Shiva has three eyes, called the sun, moon, and fire, and one cannot escape his vigilance any more than one can escape Vishnu. So there are 13 witnesses. Maybe Lord Shiva is also one of those witnesses. Although seen by, or outside that, although seen by the police, a criminal is sometimes not immediately punished. The police wait for the proper time to apprehend him. The forbidden time for sexual intercourse would be noted by Lord Shiva, and Diti would meet with proper punishment by giving birth to a child of ghostly character or godless impersonalist. Kashyap foresaw this, and thus he warned his wife Diti. Of course, this pastime would not proceed if these things didn't happen and Hiranyaksha was not born. Then Varahadev would not have come, and Hiranyaksha Shivu was not born. Then Nrsingadev would not have come. So it's kind of also orchestrated, and they are Jaya and Vijay from the spiritual world. So that's there. But there's also some lessons in this. So anyway, so Lord Shiva. So this subtle science nobody knows, like how sometimes people say, why can't we eat in the restaurant? They are also cooking vegetarian food, but you don't know the consciousness of the cook. We say, oh, the consciousness of the cook gets mixed in the. And some people say, what consciousness you are talking about? But there is a subtle science, which we don't understand. They're like the laws of karma are also very subtle, and we don't see them. We can't relate, but they are working. There's laws of karma. So many subtle things are there, which we can't fathom. So, like the consciousness of the parents affects the child. Consciousness of parents at the time of conception affects the child's the consciousness. So that is also a subtle thing. How this is all this. So we have to believe what Shastra is saying. Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet there is no one who is not connected with him. So he is Vairagi. He doesn't think anybody is mine. But everybody is connected with him. He does not regard anyone as very favorable or abominable, like Krishna. Samom sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff, and we vow to accept what is rejected by him. Kashyap informed his wife that just because Lord Shiva happened to be his brother-in-law, that should not encourage her in her offense towards him. Kashyap warned her that actually Lord Shiva is not connected with anyone, nor is anyone his enemy. Since he is one of the three controllers of the universal affairs, he is equal to everyone. His greatness is incomparable because he is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. It is said that among all devotees of Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva is the greatest. Thus, the remnants of foodstuff left by him are accepted by other devotees as Mahaprasad, or great spiritual foodstuff. The remnants of foodstuff offered to Lord Krishna are called prasad, but when the same prasad is eaten by a great devotee like Lord Shiva, it is called Mahaprasad. Lord Shiva is so great. So there is prasad and there is Mahaprasad. And sometimes people say Mahaprasad. What is that, Mahaprasad?
Prasad that is eaten by a devotee. So one that is offered to Krishna and then eaten by the devotee becomes Maha.
But Prabhupada says it is called Mahaprasad. Yeah. Sometimes a Mahaprasad means directly from Krishna's plate, and then Mahaprasad is, I don't know how.
Correct.
So, yeah. The way Prabhupada writes is when the same prasad is eaten by a great devotee, It is called Mahaprasad. So Mahaprasad means it is already, but then they say Mahaprasad. So maybe it is like, yeah, very good. Lord Shiva is so great that he does not care for the material prosperity for which everyone is so eager. Everybody is working very hard to improve their material situation in this world. People are working one job, two jobs, and everybody wants to get a better. If you're living in an apartment, you want to move to a house, you want to get nice things in the house, nice furniture, and so many things. So now, to maintain all these things or to buy all these things, you have to have salary coming. And of course, sometimes you have to work and your salary may be very good. Like some of you have very good salaries. So that's just you're working, and sometimes people don't work so much, but still they have good salaries. So some karma is there. And Krishna, of course, Krishna's devotees are also given a very good situation, materially speaking. So like that. But Lord Shiva doesn't care for material prosperity because I was thinking this morning, should spiritual life support material life or material life support spiritual life? What should be the spiritual life should support material life or material life should support spiritual life? Of course.
I mean, surrender to Krishna will support you. Ananyas chintayantam amyajana paripasate. He will take care of you. He will maintain you.
Correct. So we are not doing spirituality so that we can become very nicely situated in material life. Dharma, artha, kama. Dharma is not for the purpose. So spiritual life is not, we are worshipping Krishna so that we can become nicely situated in this prison house of this material world. The spiritual life is not meant to support material life. So mostly people go to God because they want to improve their material condition. Artho jigyasu artharthi. So, Jnanishya Bharadarsha. So, material life, spiritual life is not meant to enhance spiritual life. I mean, spiritual life is not meant to enhance material life. That's why Bhagavatam says that dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho arthaya upakalpate narthasya dharmai kantasya kamo labha hi smritaha. Material gain should never be used for sense gratification like that. Dharma should never be used for, dharma should be meant for apavargasya, to go back home, back to Godhead. But, karma kanda and all these things, it's religious life, but it is meant to enhance material life. Material life should support spiritual life in the sense that we have to do what we have to do, but main business of human life is that not improvement of material life, but improvement of spiritual life, consciousness. So all that things we do, may have to do a job and everything. Then all these things should be done so for the purpose of supporting our spiritual life, so that we can, of course, that material also becomes spiritual if you are using it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That for a devotee, there is no difference. What is material life, what is spiritual life? He just has spiritual life only. Because whatever he does is for Krishna's service, for Krishna's pleasure, even if he's working in office.
But like the Bhagavatam verse says, yeah, you have to work, but only so much to maintain your body and soul together. Kamasya nendriya pritir.
Yeah, that becomes karma yoga, right?
Like some devotees have joined the temple, right? So they are not even doing any job. But
even if somebody is at home doing a job, for that also, like the time that he's spending for work is counted as bhakti only, or karma, because he's using his fruits to serve Krishna, maintain the household.
Yeah, if you're using, because if you're family man, then you can't live in the temple. Generally, Prabhupada says. Generally, it's not possible because temple cannot support all the needs of a family, right? Your children and everything, and education and everything. So temple may not have that much finances to support everything, to take care of your needs. So yeah, if you're like married person, then you have to live outside in the Grihastha ashram, and then you have to work to support the way it is set up in the modern day world. You have to work outside, you have to work a job, but you are doing it in a Krishna conscious way. So that also becomes. But material life is meant to support spiritual life in the sense that, yeah, we have to take care of our body and things like that. We have to keep our body fit, and we have to eat something, and we have to get some money to sustain ourselves, to live peacefully. We have to pay our bills. But that is all ultimately done because you want to make spiritual progress. We want to live not long, we want to live whatever time we have, it is meant for improving our spiritual consciousness, basically. Otherwise, what is the purpose of living long? The trees are also living long for so many years. In the Bhagavatam it says like that. Don't the trees live for so many years, but what is the value of their living? So, everything we do is meant to ultimately support in changing becoming Krishna conscious. So that goal has to be decided first. If that goal is not there, then we will become sidetracked, and we will think, yes, I want to improve my material situation. That's why I'm working very hard. I want to do this and that. But the goal should be to improve our consciousness, to serve Krishna, basically. By serving Krishna only, we change our consciousness. Otherwise, you can't. So, everything should support. Sometimes people say, I want to live longer, but we want to live longer because we want to serve Krishna more, so that we can improve our consciousness if we are not completely, pure. So we can chant more. But when there is time, then are we using that time to serve Krishna? Because Krishna is also giving a lot of time to all of us. So are we then at the end of the life we may say, oh, I want to live some more years. But when you were given time, did you use your time properly? Did you use your time all the time to serve Krishna? So Krishna may give more time, but if you are not going to use the time in serving Krishna, then what is the use of time? If we indulge in sense gratification in that time, then it will implicate us more in this prison. It will prolong our stay in this material existence. So time is meant to whatever time we have. We should think, this is my last chance. Then we will become more serious. Like whenever you think, you chant Hare Krishna and you think, this may be my last chance to chant 16 rounds. Tomorrow, who knows, I will be there or not. This may be my last day to chant 16 rounds. So let me chant in that consciousness. So this may be my last chance. So every mantra can be thought of like that. But we don't think like that. That's the problem. Because we are illusioned. So we think, yeah. So there is no urgency, and there is there's complacency. Talking about myself. So we have to somehow tell the mind that this may be my last chance. And then you will become like, oh, today is the last day I'm going to chant Hare Krishna. Let me chant nicely. Today is my last day in this body. So then, okay, let me do as much as possible Krishna conscious activities. Of course, sometimes people say you can't live like that because then you will not go to job and anything. If it was your last day, then definitely you would not go to job. But you can go to job also, and if you're in the consciousness of serving Krishna with whatever salary you got for that day, then that's okay. But generally, people like Parikshit Maharaj, when he had 7 days, he was doing his duties as a king before. But when he got the notice that only 7 days are left, so he dropped everything. So sometimes they say die before dying. So we should think that yes, death is just round the corner and I have very short time left. So I should accelerate my devotional service, should use all my time like that. And at that point, so many things are not like important, because if it's last day, what else can you do in this world? What are we going to achieve in this world? Oh, we may think if my children are going to be situated properly, let me make sure that I've done my will and I've given the money to my children and everything is in place. But once we are out of the picture, that's it. No connection with anybody of this world. But you die with some satisfaction. That, oh, I took care of my family. But that is also not going to be, because you don't know what is going to happen to them after you die. You are in your another body, and they are also going to die in a few years after that. So it's like that. So that's why they say at the time of living, one should be focused on the Supreme Lord, Ante Narayana Smriti, and not think about anything of this world. Okay, I have to do this. Like Prabhupada said, somebody was telling the physician, please give me 4 more years. He's on the verge of death and he's saying, oh, I have so many unfinished plans to finish. I have this to do, that to do. So we should think like, yeah, now what is there to do in this world? I mean, nothing you can, and this world will one day whole be sucked up in the body of Mahavishnu. Everything will be gone. Of course, it's a long time, but all the things that we think, this house, everything will be gone into the body of Mahavishnu. Finished. No more material world. No earth planet only. So what is there to do in this? With time, everything goes like that. It's only a matter of time. That's the thing. So, but because we have some time, we think, yeah, I have so many years, I have another. Somebody says you are like 40 and you're going to die at 45. Then you become very serious. But somebody says you're 40 and you're going to live till 75. Then you think, oh, it's 35 years more is there, I can do what I have to do. So, still I am not 75, okay, 80, I'm going to die at 80, another 40 years there. So many things to do. But somebody says, so we should think, yes, it is just close. Like there is one quote of Prabhupada, if you want to make advancement, then you should think that you can die at any moment. And okay, so his greatness is incomparable because he's a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But all this comes, when one enters into family situation, then he has gets so many responsibilities, and then now he's responsible for his children and so many things, and he can't shirk away his responsibilities because he has to now take care. And sometimes the parents are also in anxiety until their child is married, so there is so much anxiety about this. Then there is anxiety. I know some parents, they are anxiety, oh, my child is married, but he doesn't have a child. When will he have a child? There is anxiety about that. So like that, it goes on till the fag end of life. So ours, this is path of renunciation. And sometimes renunciation has to be like forced, because so that we can fix our mind on Krishna. Because right now mind is absorbed in so many things, so we have to withdraw the mind forcibly and take it to the lotus feet of Krishna. That's why it says Pancha Shordham Vanam Vrajet, like that at 50 one should, it's compulsory, one should retire to the forest, like that. Prabhupada quotes like that. So at least we may not be able to go to the forest or anything, but we should think now, it's very less time, let me get serious, more serious. If I'm already serious, let me get more serious about it. Because in spiritual life, there is always, you can fine tune your consciousness to an infinite degree. You can become more and more focused, more focused, more focused. There is no end to this. And we are not competing with anybody, but we have to better our own absorption, our own, and take inspiration from others. But we have to see how we can do better in our consciousness. So,
And Prabhuji, I think Jada Bharata, his qualities are also like inspiration for us. I believe. So I was reading the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.9.9.
Mm.
That verse it talks about the the qualities of Jada Bharat. So even though he was in this material world,
Mm.
he appeared to be madman or a dull person. He was just acting or he was just living. Just he appears like for the sake of living, but he was completely uh, following his spiritual sadhana, right? So I think, but that's more like for us, we are conditioned. So
Mm.
that would be a very high bar for us. Like the way Jada Bharata live his life
Mm.
uh, in this society,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, we can't
Uh,
imitate. Yeah, we can't imitate. Like Rishabh Dev also, he was like also Avadut. Uh, yeah, we can't. But Prabhupada has made simpler for us, so we can live our life close to a temple in devotional service in the association of devotees. The whole problem with Bharat Maharaj was he was alone. It was a different yuga. He was alone, and there was no devotee association. So we need devotee association to inspire us. So in Kali Yuga, we cannot make advancement on our own. And then, of course, we also have the task of saving the conditioned souls. That is our movement. It is not meant to just retire and just do Nirjan Bhajan, but as Prabhupada showed by his own example, is to save others by giving Krishna content. That is more pleasing to Krishna also, because Krishna is worried about every jiva. So, like yesterday we were hearing Nityananda Prabhu, when the thief, the gang of the the head of the gang of the thieves, he surrendered to Nityananda Prabhu. And he says, I want to commit suicide. I want to just give up my life. I've done so many sinful activities. Nityananda Prabhu says, no, no, you have to save all this, your other fellow members, your thieves, because you understood now, so you have to give this knowledge to others. Sanatan Goswami also wanted to commit suicide, of course, for a different reason, because Mahaprabhu was touching him. But Mahaprabhu said, no, no, I want to do so many things through your body. Your body is my property. I want you to write books. I want you to excavate holy places. I want you to show others the path of renunciation. And what else? Excavate holy places, build temples, write books, and show the path of renunciation, right? The four things. Or did I?
कृष्ण भक्ति कृष्ण प्रेम सेवा प्रवर्तन लुप्त तीर्थ उद्धार और वैराग्य शिक्षण.
Vairagya Shiksha.
Right books. Did you say that?
Yeah, Krishna Bhakti Seva Pravartan. Right? What is that? That is through the books, Krishna Bhakti.
Yeah, and Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prem Seva. So it's build temples. Did you say that?
Yeah, build temples, yes. Excavate holy places.
Write books. Yeah, excavate lost places of pilgrimage and teach people about the renounced body.
Renunciation. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So Lord Shiva is so great that he does not care for material prosperity, for which every one of us is so eager. Parvati, who is the powerful material nature personified, is under his full control as his wife. Yet he does not use her even to build a residential house. He prefers to remain without shelter, like Loma Rishi is another example. He said, no, no, don't construct life is too short. Although he was going to live a long life. But from Brahma's point of view and things like that, Mahavishnu's point of view, he prefers to remain without shelter, and his great wife also agrees to live with him humbly, Parvati. People in general worship goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, for material prosperity. Dhanam Dehi, Rupam Dehi, give me this, give me that. But Lord Shiva engages her in his service without material desire. He simply advises his wife, great wife, that all kinds of worship, of all, the worship of Vishnu is the highest, and greater than that is the worship of a great devotee or anything in relation with Vishnu. So, what is that verse?
Radhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Radhanam Param Tasmat Paratam Devi Tatyanam Samarchanam.
Okay, so it's 8:45. I didn't realize I want to read about Lord Nityananda, but we'll read in the middle somewhere of the day somewhere. Okay, we can stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining this one.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.